Okay, so over the next couple of weeks, we are going to just take what the state says our TEKS are. The TEKS are what you have to learn, and we are just simply going to look at what is that TEK and what does it look like on the STAAR test so that I know what to look for, like how do they ask me that question, how do they present that question, and so that you are prepared. So today's TEK says, let me pull it up. I don't want to go too fast. Okay, there we go. Today's TEK says recognize characteristics and structures of informational text. So what that means is when we look at a story, I want you to focus on this part right here. Let me see if I can get that bigger. Okay, this part right here, the text structure equals organization. When we have an informational story, remember the author is going to organize it in such a way, he's going to use a structure. A structure is how you organize something so that it makes sense. So sometimes we've talked about they use chronological order. Remember that is just a fancy word for sequencing. That's a fancy word for like time order. So sometimes it may say, how did the author organize the story? And it may say chronological order by telling the timeline of the character. So sometimes they may give us like the timeline of somebody, like they were born and then this happened and then this happened. Sometimes it may be chronological order in that we are making something or the event of something. This happened, then this happened, and this happened. And you're going to see those key words like first, next, last, then. For the next one we're going to see a lot of times is a problem and solution. They're going to tell me a problem, and then in the end of the story, they're going to tell me how to fix that problem. Like what was, so they may say, how did the author organize this text? And the answer choice may say something by presenting a problem about the Earth's environment and a solution of recycling. So sometimes we're going to see cause and effect, and I have seen this in a couple different ways. Sometimes with cause and effect, they're going to give us two boxes. Here's the cause, here's the effect, and you have to know what goes in the box. If this was the effect, what caused that in the story? And then sometimes it will just be written out in the question of how did the author organize the story? Compare and contrast. You notice that that is highlighted. Compare and contrast just means they're taking two things and they're comparing them. How are they the same? How are they different? So there's always going to be two topics. And then description just simply means they are describing something. Are they describing a beach? Are they telling me about a place? They describe something. So let me click on this link. I want to show you. Okay, so I hope you can read this okay. I wanted to give you an example of a few different ways that they have asked us how to, what is the author's text structure did he use? So one we might see in paragraph 2, the author compares what? So he organized that paragraph only, not the whole story, only that paragraph by comparing two things. So we would look at that and think about what two things did he compare. This is the box I was telling you about a while ago. He used text structure, a cause and effect text structure, but they don't want you to just know that. They want you to be able to understand what is the cause and what is the effect. So you would read it and you would say, okay, if this was the effect, what caused that to happen? And to me, what you need to do first is fill in that box. I cannot tell you how many times I tell kids, well, what do you think? And they tell me the answer, but they can't find it in the answer choices. So it's you know it, it's just matching it up. Okay, and then another one that is super common to see is just like this. It doesn't necessarily use the words compare, contrast. It doesn't necessarily use the words problem and solution, but it'll say these sentences conclude the article by how. So they're just saying, how did they organize this story? And you're going to look for those key words. Comparing. Okay, did they compare in here? And you're going to think about that and circle that key words. Listing the types of energy. Did they do that in there? Explaining how energy can be transferred. That's describing something or reminding the reader of the introductory statement. So simply looking at listing, comparing, taking those key words and practicing them. Taking those key words and circling them, marking out the ones that are wrong, circling the ones that are good.